Zelenskyy wants involved in the war at Ukraine and, well, that's everyone. Zelenskyy seems to want everyone involved with the war in Ukraine. Welcome to a brand new video. Zelenskyy is crashing out. Trump is crashing out. Rubio responded. Vance made a tweet. Everyone's arguing. All-out war. The drama's insane. The chaos is crazy. Every European country is virtue signaling and sucking his cock and fondling his balls at the same time, doing the double trouble, as we like to call it over here. And everything is insane. We are waiting for the upcoming Putin apology video. It's gonna be insane. He'll maybe bring a ukulele and everything. Continue a severe lapse in judgment, invaded Ukraine, you know, stuff like that. I already made an entire video analyzing the actual Trump-Zelenskyy situation, so we're not gonna retread too much ground. We Got Receipts is a channel that made literally like a compilation of all the speeches of all the major key players after the actual White House meltdown. So let's jump right into it, baby. Without further ado, let's watch the man-children break the world. Hell yeah! Subscribe for more chaos, baby.
Well, Zelenskyy, we're told, was begging to stay and work this out.
No!
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
I don't know if we can do business with Zelenskyy again.
Oh, no!
Say thank you. I said it.
No, you've done a lot of talking. If you didn't have our military equipment, your country is in big trouble.
Oh, shit.
You're not winning. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate.
In case you missed it, history was made today when President Trump and Vice President Vance engaged in a very public spat.
Yeah, baby! Endless content, all the content. Sorry, I know that this is like doom and gloom because this might kick off World War III, but think of the content. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be insane. Yeah, my opinion on the whole Russia thing is something I've talked about in the past. I'm not gonna retread past steps every fucking time, but I think Zelenskyy is an incredibly manipulative man. And I think while he is definitely fighting a war where he is the victim in this war, he absolutely is wildly manipulative. You know, he came to America allegedly to make some sort of deal with minerals, and I think he blindsided everyone with just like a kind of wild, insane show of emotion about how there's like this entitlement that America needs to forever fund his war, and it definitely made things look kind of wild. It definitely looked kind of wild. He took this opportunity to give like a global plea to emotions where Trump and Vance stood up to him, and then the EU had the opportunity to fucking stand on a podium, suck and gargle his nuts so that they could look like they're the good guys. It's a really interesting situation, honestly, and it's definitely one that I'm going to keep making content out of. Hell yeah, baby.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy over peace negotiations with Russia, or should I say the lack thereof. The clip that went viral at the end of the meeting does not show what led up to the spat. Zelenskyy was rolling his eyes or shaking his head every time Trump talked about a peace deal.
Yeah, bro doesn't want peace. Again, my hardcore analysis is a blue retard on the internet is, I don't think Zelenskyy wants peace. Zelenskyy wants total and utter victory. Now, how is he going to get victory against Russia, which is literally steamrolling him? Well, I don't know. Maybe by getting America involved in a war? Maybe.
Taking place as we speak, and I don't want to have that. You know, think of the parents, whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never started. This would have...
It never started. If I was president, it wouldn't have started. My cock is large, yours is small, Zelenskyy. I've seen it in the urinal.
President, this would have never started.
Zelenskyy was rude, condescending, and at one point told Trump that if he essentially bent the knee to the neocon plan of NATO baiting Russia into endless hostilities, that maybe Trump would get his very own bronze statue in the Oval Office.
I think that if president or when he will stop Putin, if President Trump...
Again, he doesn't talk about peace. He talks about stop Putin. Again, he wants Trump in the war. I think that's definitely what he wants here and what he's trying to get out of it, even though it seemed like he was coming here for some sort of peace deal, trading minerals for money or some shit. But he definitely wants America involved in this war. You know, I watched the whole video, the whole interview from beginning to end. That was definitely the vibe that I got. Again, this is coming from a victim of a vicious incursion into his land. Just to make this clear, and you can make a billion other fucking reasons, literally a billion reasons why Russia invaded Ukraine and everything, and I'm not really even getting involved into that shit. All I know is I think that's what he wanted.
will bring peace to our country. I think he will be on this wall.
You'll get like a fucking statue. This man will be such a hero when he gets involved in the war.
Oh, the disrespect. Now, Trump played nice most of the time, saying it's an honor to host you.
Very much. It's an honor to have President Zelenskyy of Ukraine, and we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very well.
And that Trump actually thinks his clothes are pretty nice.
Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit.
It's just such a fucking cringe moment, dude. I'm not even gonna lie, that was such a cringe moment. Ah, okay.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other. But you know what? I think he's dressed.
I like this guy.
I think he's dressed.
So I have more serious things.
This came after Trump lightly roasted Zelenskyy for not wearing a suit when they'd first met up.
Wait, I didn't see this clip. Wait, hold up.
He's all dressed up today.
Oh my god, I didn't realize there was history here. Okay. All right, guys, definitely subscribe for more chaos. There will always be more content.
But by the end of the meeting, after Zelenskyy had shown zero interest in a peace deal,
He did. I watched the whole fucking meeting. He doesn't want a peace deal. He wants to win. He doesn't want peace.
or making any compromise.
And again, I'm not even saying this is like a negative against Zelenskyy right now. It's just wildly disrespectful in the way he treated Trump in America. That is without a doubt. And I think that anyone could objectively agree with that. Unless, of course, they're just mega anti-Trump and pro-Zelenskyy and don't actually have a working brain.
Trump finally took the gloves off.
One more question.
Listen, Trump said he'd be transparent, and he literally fucking roasted this short man on the world stage.
I would respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the
Vance should not have gotten involved, bro.
United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Yeah, so it's funny, because the thing is, I completely agree with what Vance actually says. Like, I literally agree with everything that he says. I just think there's a time and a place. And just like I think it's completely inappropriate for Zelenskyy to do his whole, you know, bleeding heart shtick, you know, coming in here and acting entitled to all of Americans' funding and money. I think that Vance cooked a little too hard, bro. I think he's right. I think he's completely right. But there's a time and a place, dog.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, and now a fight breaks out between Zelenskyy and Vance.
He occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. During 2014 till 2022, yeah, was the situation the same? The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me.
So Zelensky's bringing up the Russian invasion of Crimea in 2014 without mentioning the CIA-backed, NATO-backed Euromaidan riots the same year.
I signed with him.
Context. It's almost like context matters, and it might change your opinions on certain things. That's pretty weird. I didn't even catch that. But yeah, most of the Russian invasions were precipitated by. Again, I think that Russia's inevitably gonna start a war again with Ukraine. I mean, they're in the middle of a war right now, but I think inevitably Russia wants Ukraine, and I'll be real. I think they're gonna keep fucking fighting. Now, the wild thing is, let me see if I can find that clip. Yeah, like when I saw this, when I saw Kash Patel, the current FBI director, when I saw him say this, I lost my shit. I thought this was absolutely insane.
I've asked this Congress to investigate where has this money gone. The American people are owed that answer because it's our money. It's our taxpayer dollars.
And there's a lot of really good reason to be concerned because, the Ukraine was known as a, place of corruption, a place for money laundering.
Yeah. It's not like we sent $1 billion, as if that was even a small number to begin with, right? We've sent 100 times that to one country.
I literally have someone in my chat literally just saying right now, people always say 350 billion, but it was not that much. It was only like 118 billion. Dog, that's a lot of fucking money.
I don't know how this Congress is allowed to get away with it. And Zelenskyy is out there. He went on the world stage and said, Russia fired a rocket into Poland.
All right, this part blew my mind.
Which would literally be an act of war. Well, it turned out that Russia fired no such rocket. It turned out that the rocket came from the Ukraine and was fired into Poland.
And it was a mistake, basically.
If Zelensky's going to go out there...
It was a mistake that Ukraine fired a rocket that landed in Poland, but then Zelenskyy used that as leverage to blame Russia to try to drag Poland into this war.
And beg the world for more money and come to the U.S. and sit in the well of our Congress and say, we want more money, and then call and demand the new Speaker of the House provide more and more money, and call Mitch McConnell and say, we need more and more machinery. He needs to be more prepared about global statements that bring us to the precipice of war than doing what he did last fall with this missile attack, or this missile launch, I should say. And we just can't have full faith and trust by giving a leader $100 billion and having him say, I'm not telling you where the money went.
So, just to be clear, a rocket flew from Ukraine, and it was an accident, and it fell into Poland, or whatever, and he said it was Russia, and he tried to use that as leverage. That mistake, he tried to use it as leverage to drag Poland into a war against Russia, to talk about how Russia's also invading Poland. They're going to invade the rest of Europe. Everyone needs to get involved. Zelenskyy has been manipulative about this war, and I don't blame him in a way. But at the same time, bro, stop manipulating the United States. You're literally taking billions of dollars. You claim it's only 118 billion. They claim it's 350 billion. Whatever the fuck billion it is. It's billions better than you fucking deserve. Than you deserve. You're not entitled to shit. But anyway, the point is, from America's perspective, they want a peace deal. They want there to be a peace. Then you can worry about security concerns and shit and deals and all that fucking bullshit. But ultimately, as it stands right now, the way Zelenskyy is trying to manipulate, it's not working on Trump and Vance. They don't want to deal with this emotional blackmail shit. They don't want to hear it. And I don't blame them at all for not wanting to hear it. But the virtue signalers in Europe love that shit.
The deal I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed...
Again, my opinion, the mineral deal would be a de facto security deal. Because I think if Trump does some sort of mineral deal with Ukraine, then suddenly there's American assets in Ukraine. So if Russia decides to invade Ukraine again in the future, suddenly America would act to protect its own assets. That's my opinion the entire time. Trump just understands that when you negotiate, you can't just vilify Putin at every possible state. Say, oh yeah, Putin, he's a terrorist, Nazi, goat fucker, he's evil, we hate him, he's the bad guy, we'll stop him. Putin will never come to the table to make peace. The only way to make peace, literally the only way to make peace, is for everyone to lose a little bit and try to make the best situation out of that from that moment forward. And it really feels like Zelenskyy is not willing to give up on anything. He wants pure and utter justice. He wants all the land that Russia took. He wants all that shit back. Literally. And that's not going to happen unless there's a world war.
Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour.
Right, that's where he apparently called him a bitch under his breath or something.
Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean. And don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless you.
Oh God, oh Lord.
God bless.
I just covered this whole thing. I'm mostly here for the follow-ups, but yeah, damn.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
Oh,
we're
fuck.
trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're
So Trump finally hits back against Zelensky's arrogance, his condescension.
no position.
By the way, also, when Vance said that he saw people, I already covered this in my previous video, but there is actual, like, video footage of, like, Ukrainian soldiers just, you know, pulling up and just grabbing random dude to bring him to the military. Obviously, the guy does not want to go to the military. But anyway, here we are back in WWE for world leaders.
Dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
He's literally right. He is completely right. Enough of this emotional blackmail bullshit. Just tell me what you want. Tell me what you think. Russia's doing worse. I love how everyone does this in my chat. Every single time I criticize Zelensky, people think that means I'm pro-Russia. You are all retarded. Russia's the aggressor here. Putin is a fucking villain. A genuine 2025 villain. Okay? 100%. Ukraine is the victim here. Without a doubt. Did they maybe precipitate certain shit that caused the war to happen? I don't give a fuck. Currently, Russia ultimately is the aggressor here. That does not mean that Zelensky isn't being a wildly manipulative bitch right now in order to get America to fight his war.
We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very strong.
Influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed him to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
Not
cards.
playing cards.
Right now, you don't
Mr.
talk.
President.
Life is just one game of poker when you think about it.
You're gambling with millions of people.
He's literally right, though. As it stands, Trump is holding the cards. You know, as it stands, Trump is holding the cards. Zelensky is not. Zelensky is here because he needs Trump's help. And that's true. That's literally true. Zelensky is in no position to bargain and make demands against Trump.
You think you're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting?
Oh, no.
You said thank you.
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October.
Yes, let's revisit that briefly. In September 2024, Zelensky visited the Scranton Army ammunition plant, praising U.S. military aid just weeks before the election. His visit kicked off a U.S. tour that included meetings with Biden and Kamala Harris, who was running for president, remember, reinforcing his alignment with the Democrat administration.
Interesting.
Zelensky was seen smiling and laughing with a number of Democrats, including Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania governor, while signing bombs as if they were a groupie's tits at a Kid Rock concert.
Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please. You think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I answer?
No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this.
You're not winning this. And he's saying, I know. And then he stops.
Well, the truth is he's not winning this. He's not winning this without the cards, as Trump put it. That's just reality.
A damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks.
You haven't been alone.
Ukraine hasn't been alone. It's literally a NATO pawn.
It's wild. But anyway, something else I wanted to show you, because a lot of people were like, you know, yelling at Trump for all this shit. All right. Saying, how dare Trump lose his temper with Zelensky. I just want to make this clear, because again, I'm a big believer in patterns. All right. I actually like patterns a lot. Patterns make me happy. I very much like patterns. They tell you stories. Let's take a look at this piece of news over here on NBC.
Thank you so much, Molly. Let me go to Courtney. NBC News has new exclusive reporting about a phone call that happened between President Biden and the Ukrainian president back in June. What do we know about that conversation, Courtney?
Yeah, that's right, Kate. So in this conversation, President Biden called President Zelenskyy to tell him about a roughly $1 billion package of additional equipment and weapons for the Ukrainian military coming from the United States. During the course of the call, President Zelenskyy continued, according to a number of officials who we spoke with who were familiar with the call, President Zelenskyy continued to talk about the additional equipment and weapons and support that he and his military needed. According to these officials, they said that President Biden finally just got frustrated and lost his temper and told President Zelenskyy, look, you could be a little bit more grateful. The reason that this story is interesting to us and is something that we are reporting on and officials were speaking to us about is because it shows that all these months ago, President Biden already realized that there was going to be a point where the American people, members of Congress, where people would start potentially pushing back on all these billions and billions of dollars of aid and equipment that the U.S. has been providing to Ukraine. And he knew that the narrative out there needed to be that the Ukrainian people and President Zelenskyy were grateful for it if the support was going to continue at that same level, Kate.
All right, Courtney Cubies.
Interesting. Almost like there's some sort of pattern here. A pattern of entitlement and ungratefulness. Even Biden lost his fucking temper. And Biden's a fucking Muppet. Bro, Biden is a Muppet. And he lost his temper and was like, yo, you could be a little more grateful. Interesting. And everyone's quick to blame Trump for losing his temper. But I'm just saying, Nux uses NBC News as evidence. Guys, I'm a big fan of using the media as evidence against their party. NBC News is a leftist news station that is purposefully, that in this instance, is being negative to Biden, if anything. Or defending Trump. Interesting, huh?
He gave you, the president, 300...
Oh, no. I literally was just talking about how Biden... Yes, we could use Biden as some sort of litmus test. And then he's like, stupid president.
$50 billion. We gave you military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. In 3 days.
And it's subtly implying, oh, you're only saying talking points.
This is something
maybe less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again, I tell you, just say thank you.
I said it a lot of times.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know you're wrong.
But you see, I think
oh shit!
It's good for the American people to see what's going on. I think it's very important.
Transparency, bro. He's all transparency.
That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the card. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. You're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. Then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I wanted this. Look.
Oh my God.
If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course we want to stop.
Yeah, but he doesn't want a ceasefire unless he gets, X amount of promises for an endless future of supporting Ukraine. That's the craziest shit.
The war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than any.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me. That wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
Oh
Ask our people how you feel about a ceasefire. You mean the people who you won't let vote in elections? People who...
Fuck, dude. Stop. He doesn't let elections run because they're under martial law.
Would potentially vote you out?
That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
So when they say you gotta be more thankful, what they're saying is you can't just waltz in here with your shitty little Henley that you say is, I don't know, you're implying it's like $5,000 shirt and pretend that you have any leverage just because the neocon controlled foreign policy status quo of the US has hitherto been to blindly support NATO's encroachment on Russia's border.
Well, I think it's more just the absolute entitlement of it all. You know, the unbelievable absolute entitlement of everything. The idea that, listen, I work, I make money. I don't owe Ukraine my money. I don't owe them shit. I don't. Now, it would be nice if I decided to donate, but as it stands, my money is going to taxes that, instead of being spent on the American people by the government, is being sent to Ukraine. Now, Zelenskyy is sitting there so entitled to the fact that he wants some sort of worldwide infinite tax for eternity to continuously fund Ukraine's endless war that he does not want a ceasefire for. He wants justice. I'll be real here. It is an unbelievably entitled position to have. And I think, personally, I don't think he just wants to fund the war forever. I think he literally wants America involved in the war. I think, personally, I think Zelenskyy wants World War III because he wants America and Europe and Ukraine to all team up, beat big bad Russia, win, and take back all the territory. I think that's probably what he wants. Because as it stands right now, Ukraine is cooked. Again, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here with some sort of massive, insane strategy. Literally, I'm not trying to push any form of propaganda. This is just the vibe that I fucking get from this guy. Me personally.
Mr. Vice President, I'm sorry. It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
Well, that's because Zelenskyy doesn't want a peace deal. Like, it is crazy to even think about a reality where Putin wants a peace deal and Zelenskyy doesn't. It's fucking insane to even comprehend that that is where we're sitting right now.
What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that.
What if a bomb falls on my head and I die?
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if the bomb drops on you, okay? What if they
hypotheticals.
I don't know, they broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Shifty Adam Schiff. There was a
just saying shit at this time. Oh God, dude.
Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of
A lot of
all that
Pulitzers
stuff.
were handed out for that scam.
All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position.
Oh, damn.
But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
So did you hear that? Very important.
I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
So Zelensky's acting like this is not an option. Zelensky's acting like there's no way the U.S. will ever not back this NATO excursion.
Yeah, he 100% just expects the United States to blindly fund him forever. Now, a lot of people I see on Twitter especially literally arguing about the insane comparison between Zelenskyy and Netanyahu. Like, why did Trump act so strongly against Zelenskyy but doesn't act like that when Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, is around? And just to be clear, this is a tweet that Netanyahu made. I just want to show you just a comparison, just a difference in how Zelenskyy and Netanyahu speak to Trump. Just on a personal level, having nothing to do with geopolitics, on a personal level.
I want to thank President Trump for his unwavering support for Israel. During my recent visit to Washington, I said that Donald Trump is the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House. And President Trump shows that friendship each and every day. He has shown it through his visionary plan for Gaza. This is a plan which Israel fully supports. He's shown it by sending us all the munitions that were being held up. This way, he's giving Israel the tools we need to finish the job against Iran's terror axis. And he has shown it by fully backing Israel and putting the pressure to release the hostages where it truly belongs.
Anyway, you don't need to see the whole clip, but you see just the level of difference that the way they actually refer to Trump. right? Zelenskyy walks in here completely trying to manipulate and twist Trump's words around and try to make Trump look like the bad guy in the eyes of the media. And Netanyahu every single time does nothing but glaze Trump. Literally. Like, there is such an obvious difference. It's insane. Like, this is a wildly entitled attitude from Zelenskyy.
And Trump is actively calling his bluff and saying, well, it could happen. You want a FAFO?
But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Yeah! Endless content.
Formal reason for their meeting today was to ink a deal giving the U.S. access to Ukraine's deposits of rare earth minerals. Trump says the U.S. is trying to get some of its money back from sending so much aid to Ukraine. But most of the mining operations would happen in the eastern pro-Russian part of Ukraine.
It's almost like that would definitely act as a deterrent for Russia to invade, because it would be attacking America's assets.
And hence would only be possible with approval from Putin. Hence, this minerals deal was supposed to be a stepping stone to a ceasefire, which would eventually pave the way for a peace deal. After today, the minerals deal was canceled.
Yeah, because Zelenskyy is not willing to give up one iota of anything. He wants pure and utter victory, and he expects the world to pay for his victory.
It now seems obvious that the deal was merely a pretense to get Zelenskyy in the room in order to demonstrate to the world his lack of willingness to support a peace deal. It was a brilliant chess move by Trump since
Okay, listen, man. I think both Trump and Zelenskyy did exactly what they wanted to do here. I know that it got unhinged at the end. I know maybe we're giving a little too much credit to Orange Man. Here I wanted small penis Zelenskyy in the room. Show the world how small his penis actually is. I really think it's definitely something that both of them wanted in their own weird way. On the one hand, Trump wanted the world to see Zelenskyy doesn't want peace, doesn't want a peace deal. He wants justice. And on the other hand, I think Zelenskyy wanted the world to see that, I wanted Europe specifically to see that they have to huddle up together with or without Trump. Literally, with or without Trump, they have to huddle together and support Ukraine because of all the emotional, heart-rending bullshit that he's pushing on the fucking stream. And I really think it's kind of insane that we just saw this happen on live television.
It puts.
I don't blame him for wanting justice. I don't blame him for wanting justice either. But there's a way to do this without fucking the person that literally supported his war. America funded his war, and he expects infinite funding.
Pressure on NATO-backed Zelenskyy to publicly admit to the world he's not actually interested in peace, despite having absolutely no leverage.
Yeah, again, I think it's both on both sides. Trump wanted the world to see that Zelenskyy doesn't want a peace deal, and Zelenskyy wanted the world to see that you can't rely on Trump for endless support, and where he could do this emotional blackmailing that everyone will glaze him on the planet. And they all do. Every fucking world leader on the planet right after this, every democracy in Europe decided to tweet, Zelenskyy, I love the way your balls taste. Your shaft especially is very large and girthy, especially for your short stature.
To resist peace. Zelenskyy, pretending to have leverage, actually betrays the fact that he is backed by shadowy deep state operatives. After their heated exchange, Zelenskyy was kicked out of the White House and reportedly begged to return.
Oh shit, again, that's crazy.
This is what I was told. The president has kicked Zelenskyy out of the White House.
Oh my God.
His delegation right now is telling him that he's got to go home. The president felt disrespected. Officials in the room.
Well, I think Trump felt disrespected in his own fucking house. He has every right to kick him out of his house. Hot take, if it's your house, you can kick whoever the fuck you want out.
Felt that beyond the language barrier that we've heard some discussion about, Zelenskyy's body language, shrugging and eye rolling, was ungrateful, disrespectful, and the president feels that Zelenskyy is not ready for peace and he can come back when he's ready to talk about peace, but he's not in that position right now, and Zelenskyy is being told he's got to go. The lunch that they were supposed to have is sitting right outside the hallway.
Oh my God.
The press staffers are going to be eating that lunch.
Oh my
This is
God.
really pretty incredible. We see the
Jackie,
SUV,
hang on with it one
Zelensky's
moment. If you
SUV.
look to your left, you're going to see him. Let's watch. You may be watching the floor fall through this moment in international relations and diplomacy, or this might be the art of the deal. and we're not going to know for some time.
It's Trump. I love how Trump he can always somehow find a way to twist this around. It was all part of my four-dimensional chess strategy. Not only did I watch the titties, but I am the titties. And people be like, holy shit, you just said something ingenious. I do think it did play out positively, ultimately. Again, I am a big fan. I am a big fan of transparency and freedom of speech. I think it's important that every side is clear. I think it's clear that the world knows the perspectives of the different players in the world. And I think it is pretty clear what's going on. It is clear that Zelensky is entitled and manipulative, I think. But it is also clear that he is a victim of something terrible that's happening to his country. Simultaneously, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. It's wild to see this happen. Trump got the world to see that Zelensky doesn't want peace. And Zelensky got the world to see that he is a sad, broken victim of a country that will never stop fighting. I think they both got the message that they actually want to cross, even though neither of them said it. And I find it so fascinating to watch all the dude, I love it so much. Like, two retards fighting every time. Oh my God. What a crazy situation.
Jackie, it appears...
You know what I'm hoping personally? I'm hoping personally that if the war ends, there's some sort of peace deal. People aren't dying. And you know what my incredible hot take is? I want Doge to do a full audit of where the money actually went to in Ukraine so we can put this fucking shit to bed. I don't want to hear any more of this. Ukraine is selling American weapons to the cartels. Unless it's true. And I also don't want to hear that, Zelensky is pocketing all this money, unless it's true. I want to know for a fact where the fuck this money went and where these weapons went. I really want to see. I am very curious to see where this retard on retard crime goes. And I will be here to make fucking content out of it, baby. President meltdowns! I love the president meltdowns. They're so fun every time.
And even going into this meeting that this relationship was not great. About a week ago, President Trump called Zelensky a dictator. He was asked about that yesterday with the British Prime Minister, and he said, "Did I say that?" Next question. As if he wanted to brush that off and make sure that things today went smoother.
Well, Zelensky, we're told, was begging to stay and work this out. The Ukrainians were begging the president in the White House.
Dude, I imagine every Ukrainian was fucking crying watching this shit. Dog, I'll be real. Ukrainians must have been fuming watching Zelensky do that shit. They want a fucking ceasefire. Elon Musk made a tweet. All right, and I don't generally like Elon Musk tweets, but he made a tweet that I thought was a pretty good one. I'm not gonna lie. He made a pretty good tweet. Fuck, people are gonna call me some sort of Elon dick rider because no one actually has any form of object permanence in any way. No one has media literacy that they can recognize that me thinking that a tweet's a good tweet doesn't actually mean anything. Fuck, dude. He tweets so much, bro. Does not stop. New plan. I know someone that replied to his tweet, so I will just look for the reply. I am so good at this game. I am so good at this game. All right, so this is the Elon Musk tweet. So here you have the cable car. This is the Putin, and it's running over Ukrainians here, killing them, right? You have Zelensky with the lever. Right? The trolley problem, where it says you can stop the tram at any moment, but you refuse because you need guarantees that it won't start moving again in a few years. I'll be real. This is a pretty good tweet. It's a pretty good tweet. Ultimately, what Trump wants is some sort of peace deal, and he's afraid that, Russia will break it, which realistically, Russia, they might break it. They likely will break it. I don't think Russia are necessarily the most honorable people, especially when it comes to Ukraine, who they definitely want to conquer. But worry about that later, Worry about that shit later. In the meantime, pull the lever. Then make deals with Trump and shit. In the meantime, there are thousands of people dying daily. Apparently, Chris Murphy, someone in my chat sent me this, just finished a meeting with President Zelensky here in Washington. He confirmed that Ukrainian people will not support a fake peace agreement where Putin gets everything he wants. And there are no security arrangements for Ukraine. Wow. So the Democrats talked Zelensky out of making some sort of peace agreement with Trump and then expect us to keep funding his war? Holy shit.
So you heard Fox News report that Zelensky was evidently begging to return to the White House after being kicked out after that very hostile meeting. Here's Trump explaining exactly what happened.
All right, here we go. Trump's response to the meltdown. You ready, baby?
How long do you think it will take for Zelensky to want peace and be invited back to the White House?
Well, he says he wants it now. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
Are you going to end? What does Zelensky need to do to restart talks with you?
He's got to say, I want to make peace.
It's as simple as that, baby. Let Zelensky actually say he wants peace. Because as it stands right now, it doesn't look like he does. Let's be real.
He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. People are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay?
God damn.
So Zelensky...
Damn, that is crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, he needs to hear Zelensky say he wants fucking peace. Because as it stands right now, it really looks like he just wants war. God damn.
Zelensky waltzed into the meeting today as if he had an ace up his sleeve, meaning the backing of NATO and what's left of the CIA and US deep state intelligence apparatus. And Trump reminded him that there's a new sheriff in town. So after getting kicked out, humiliated, begging to return, being told no, Zelensky decides to go on Fox News with Bret Baier to do damage control. But he ended up making it worse.
So I'm not...
What? I didn't see this yet. I'm locked in, baby. Hell yeah. Nuclear meltdowns. Let's go. I love meltdowns. All the chaos, all the meltdowns.
Hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect president and I respect American people. And I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes...
He's not sure he did something bad. No! Just apologize! Even if you don't mean it! Have an ounce of humility for the motherfucking country that you want to protect. Oh!
Some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media. But there are things where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainian, and I think that is the most important thing.
We know the position. We know you don't want peace. Oh, it's so painful, man.
As we are partners, we're very close partners. We have to be fair. We have to be very free.
So even in broken English, it's just a bunch of meaningless words, and he won't. And Zelensky's refusing to back down. By the way, did you notice that Bret Baier at one point just looked like he was on his cell phone, not listening to Zelensky? Dude. But it's funny, even in broken English, Zelensky's still capable of better quality word salad than Kamala Harris. So Zelensky refused to...
Bro, dude, Zelensky doesn't want peace, man. I feel like that's the message he's trying to get across here. He goes on, he just asked him to apologize to Trump, and he's not willing to do it. Why are you not willing to apologize to Trump? Holy shit. Just apologize. You need his help, for God's sake. You literally need him for your fucking people. Oh my God, dude.
To apologize to Trump for being extremely disrespectful, vacillating between acting like an angry child and a tough guy. Even though he has zero leverage in this situation, his only leverage is pretending that the neocons in both parties still control the government. Sorry, their time is over. I'll get into that at the end. And then instead of thanking Trump, Zelensky said something pretty incredible. He said that he prefers to thank the American people, us, because your people, meaning Americans, have to save our people.
Last thing, Mr. President.
What?
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Can be. Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people. And that's why I always began with to thank your people, from our people. And this is the most important. And of course, thankful to President and of course to Congress. First of all, to your people. Your people helped to save our people. People, the first. Human rights, the first. This is very, very important. And we are thankful and sorry for this. I mean, we wanted very much to have only strong relations, and I very count that we will have it.
So Zelensky...
That is such a non-answer. So he didn't even answer the question. He didn't even say that, no, he didn't apologize to Trump. He didn't say that he can actually salvage a personal relationship with Trump. He just said that I care about your people. And you know why he cares about your people? I showed this clip earlier, but I'm going to show it again because I think this is really what Zelensky kind of wants. And again, from his perspective, I don't fully blame him either. Like, obviously he wants justice. Obviously he wants the best for his country. But he's going about it in such a way that I don't feel like Trump will ever capitulate to this shit. Like, look at this, okay?
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight. Because it's nature that we're talking about, and they will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing.
Listen, man, listen, dude. Bro, I really think he just wants American fucking people in battle, okay? He does. That's why he keeps talking about his ties to the American people and shit. He really wants this to happen, okay? He genuinely wants this shit to happen. He wants to beat Russia. As it stands, he will never beat Russia unless there's a fucking World War III. That clip is cut out of context. That's what happens if Ukraine loses. I don't know, man. But he doesn't want peace. So he's basically giving America an ultimatum. He's like, listen, we'll fight and lose and then you'll need to go to war. Or you'll help us and go to war now. That's literally the options he's giving. You do realize that, right? He's not willing to make a peace deal. So he will lose.
Zelenskyy peddled NATO propaganda during the meeting, refusing to admit that Ukraine is losing the war and having difficulty enlisting troops to fight.
He is losing the war. Without it, of course he's losing the war. Not even blaming him. Russia's fucking huge. Russia doesn't care if their people die. They're just throwing endless meat at them.
You bring them on a propaganda tour.
Russia has the cards. All the cards. They have the ace of spades. You only have a two of clubs. Two of clubs is gay, like your cock and penis.
Or Mr. President.
Both small, both gay, both a two of clubs.
President, do you disagree that you've had problems?
Two of clubs even looks like your cock, I'm not gonna lie.
Bringing people into your military?
Zelenskyy also claimed that Russia started the war. This is highly mendacious because it's actually been NATO and the US via the CIA, who else? USAID actually, which have baited Russia into war since the mid-90s.
Again, I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and make believe I know. I do know that this is definitely Russian talking points. So I'm not gonna sit here and just like co-sign that shit. I think it's likely that Russia probably started the war. I do think that there were definitely things that America and Ukraine did that kind of precipitated them to do the war then. But realistically, Russia fucking instigated this shit. Yes, I know Biden had his thing where he said that if Russia does a little incursion, he won't mind. Yes, I know that, Ukraine trying to team up with NATO definitely made Russia terrified that they were surrounding Russia with NATO countries and they wanted to invade. However, Russia always viewed Ukraine as part of Russia. Russia was always going to invade Ukraine. They just felt like this was the proper moment to do it because Biden's a complete and utter, completely useless muppet. So, realistically, I know these are serious issues and not just Russian talking points as they're put. But realistically, I do think that Russia's the aggressor. Even if ultimately there were reasons that caused them to do this shit.
It was Gorbachev who relinquished East.
There's a lot of buts. Yeah, because honestly, everything is, there are different shades of gray here, okay? I just think Russia's a darker shade of gray than Ukraine.
Germany and allowed Germany to reunify and join NATO. At the time, the agreement was that NATO would not try to encroach on Russia's border, since that's a red line for Russia. If Russia's enemy is allowed to put missiles directly on their border, then it's game over for them. It's a direct threat to Russian national security. That would be like if the Soviet Union had tried to put missiles in a place like, say, Cuba. Oh wait, and how did JFK stop nuclear war from breaking out in the early 60s? He agreed to rescind the US missiles in Turkey and Italy, which directly threatened Russia, at the time Soviet Union. So why would NATO, along with the US deep state intelligence community, want to violate a national security red line and directly threaten Russia, thus baiting them?
Yeah, I think it's obviously, a terrible thing, without a doubt. I do think that there were definitely things that America and Ukraine and NATO definitely did to precipitate this war, but I do think the war was kind of inevitable.
Into a war. There are lots of reasons, namely money. Mitch McConnell once admitted that aid to Ukraine isn't really going to Ukraine. It's going to U.S. defense contractors.
What? McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry, it's not really going to Ukraine.
What?
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
Oh my fucking God, that's a real thing that was said? Bro, Elon, get on this shit now! Now! Oh my God.
By the way, all owned by BlackRock. This war is essentially an elaborate money laundering scheme for defense contractors. And nearly all US media outlets lie about this. That's honestly probably why Fox News had Zelenskyy on. And why that earlier clip showing Zelenskyy begging to come back in, why the hosts on Fox News sounded somewhat negative about Trump's actions today. So this brings us to today. What is Trump's plan? What's his aim? Is he siding with Putin and with Russia? No, he wants détente with Russia, meaning no war. He wants to stop.
I think he just wants the war to end right now. That's literally what he wants. I really think that's his actual #1 goal.
Stop NATO infringement directly on Russia's border, and he wants World War III to not break out. Or in his own words,
And Very good feeling. I think our country has really turned around. We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelenskyy, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war.
Yeah.
And play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight.
He's literally right. Bro, Trump is actually fucking cooking right here. It's crazy. How did Trump become the voice of reason, guys? I think something happened. So there's been a twist in the Matrix. I think a ferret walked into the wrong Hadron Collider. Universes are clashing. Universes are blowing up. What is happening right now? Why is Trump the voice of reason, goddammit? What is going on?
End the death.
So Trump's admitting that Zelenskyy is essentially just a pawn for NATO, that Zelensky's trying to force Trump's hand here and engage in endless foreign wars. Trump wants peace, and he's very clear about that. He says he wants Zelenskyy to want peace. Otherwise, Zelenskyy can't come back to the table. Let's make this very clear. Trump knows that Putin is a dictator. Trump knows that Russia is not a liberal democracy. But that being said, he does not want to engage in NATO-backed regime change in Ukraine in order to ignite World War III. It's that simple. Now, things were very different.
No, it really is. It is that simple, actually. Trump wants peace. He knows that you gotta glaze Putin a little bit. Now, realistically, Zelenskyy wants Trump to completely destroy this peace deal. He wants Trump to come out there and say Putin bad so that Putin is an enemy of Trump, so that Trump can go to war on behalf of Ukraine. Damn. And every time you see all of them speak, none of them actually wants to say it out loud, but that's what all of them fucking want.
And under Obama and Biden, under those two regimes, the CIA, via USAID, spent over $5 billion of our taxpayer money creating riots in the Ukraine.
Yeah, I remember that. That was uncovered by the Elon Musk Doge Squad. That there were literally riots funded for regime changes in Ukraine by USA.
The Euromaidan protests, which eventually overthrew the pro-Russian government. It was none other than Victoria Nuland, whose husband is one of the fathers of modern neoconservative ideology. It was Victoria Nuland who essentially handpicked the new pro-NATO government in Ukraine before the old government was even overthrown, again, by a NATO and US-backed coup. Now, there were a lot of interesting reactions to the fireworks today, but you would think that progressives like Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders would side with peace over...
No, bro. You don't realize people are so audience captured. It's just pro-Trump and anti-Trump. If Trump says something, they have to go to the other side. That's how fucking brain rotted these people are.
War. Bernie's base certainly thinks he's this kind-hearted 60s era radical interested in redistributing wealth and world peace. And yet today he said Trump berates Zelenskyy, the leader of a democratic country outrageously fighting Russian imperialism, while he allies himself with Putin, a dictator who started the bloodiest European war in 80 years. Sorry, President Trump, we believe in democracy, not authoritarianism.
This is an insane tweet. I can't believe he actually tweeted this. Bro, Bernie Sanders is anti-Israel. Israel is also a democracy, literally surrounded by dictatorship regimes. Like, that's what I mean. When Trump is involved, the brainworms are so bad. They are so bad that these people cannot keep their story straight. It's just Trump said something, you literally have to go to the other side. This guy is anti-Israel. The only fucking democracy in the Middle East. The only one! Oh my god, dude.
The saddest part of this is that Bernie knows he's full of shit. Bernie understands the history. Bernie knows about the Gorbachev agreement. Bernie knows about NATO encroachment. Bernie knows that it is a red line and a direct threat to a nation's national security for one's enemies to plant missiles on their border. Even if Putin's a dictator and it's not a liberal democracy, it's still acting in rational...
He's also not allying... Trump isn't allying with Putin. He's trying to make a fucking peace deal, and he realizes that you have to gargle some cocks on both sides. He realizes that by definition, a compromise means no side is completely happy.
self-interest for your country to not want missiles on your border that can directly shoot at you and kill you. This is NATO propaganda full stop to deny that it was the US-led NATO, which has been baiting Russia into war since, again,
I think Russia was going to declare war anyway, because I think Russia always wanted Ukraine to be part of it. I do think that there was some instigation going on, but I do think that realistically it was Russia's definitely the aggressor here.
90s. Andrew Yang wasn't much better. Good luck courting the progressives in 2028 if he's trying to run. Why are Trump and Vance publicly railroading Zelenskyy? It's gross. It feels like they're carrying someone else's water.
Again, it's wild to see the virtue signaling. They are all fucking virtue signaling because, oh, poor Sag Zelenskyy. And if there's a tragedy going on in Ukraine. It's a tragedy, and no one's minimizing the tragedy by saying that Zelenskyy was a little bitch in the White House. Oh my God.
Oh, Trump's a Russian asset. Haven't heard that one before. Hot take,
Crazy.
Yang. And of course, neocon hacks like John Bolton went completely insane and called for resignations.
Yeah, this is really one of the most disgraceful performances that I've seen. And I think it's important to understand that, in particular, Trump and Vance own this personally. This is the kind of attack on a country that's defending itself from an unprovoked aggression, and they just unleashed on Zelenskyy in public. And whether they planned it or not, I don't know. I'm not that concerned with questions of etiquette.
I wonder. I don't think it was planned. I think that Trump wanted the world to see who Zelenskyy was, and I think Zelenskyy pushed their buttons like a wild amount. Zelenskyy pushed their buttons, I think, and took them actually too far.
That the president, vice president of the United States have sided with the aggressor, with, as Mike Waltz was just saying there, somebody who's trying to recreate the Russian Empire, something he's been very clear about since 2005 at least.
Now, just a brief note on this point. It is true that Russia under Putin holds Gorbachev's actions in contempt and has expressed a strong interest in reabsorbing a lot of those former Soviet bloc countries. But of course, the point of that is to create a buffer so that NATO-controlled countries cannot plant missiles directly on their border. And of course...
And also, again, I know that this is definitely the narrative that she has. And I don't know what's true. The issue is there's so many like crossing lines and muddied facts that I don't know what's true. But I do know, at least I do believe that Russia wanted to fucking conquer Ukraine forever. They just did. They never viewed Ukraine as a sovereign country. So I think they always wanted to take Ukraine. I really believe that that is the case. I do think that Ukraine precipitated it, but, you know.
To be fair, Putin has plenty of expansionist dreams fitting for a dictator. But we have to be honest about the rational self-interest aspect of that particular form of expansion. Zelenskyy during the meeting tried to say that Russia's trying to take over the world, that Russia's going to invade Europe and then eventually the US. Seriously.
Even but you have nice ocean. And don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future.
But that
definitely is implying that for sure.
That might be the most spiderweb, cobweb covered Cold War take, vintage take in all of this.
I mean, I think that realistically, I think Putin does dream big. I think he does dream big that Russia would conquer the world. I don't think it's realistic, but I do think that they are probably dreaming of that shit.
Russia is a backwater. The Soviet Union was actually much more powerful. Russia is just trying to protect itself and protect its borders. Putin's not going to invade Cincinnati. Back to Bolton.
Sadly, both Mike Waltz and Marco Rubio in the administration and apparently staying. I just say, remember, this is not the second month of Trump's tenure. This is the 50th month of his 2-year term. And this is the point when somebody...
2-year term, he means 2 terms.
Does 180 degrees from understanding American allies to backing America's adversaries, that you resign.
Mark, are you saying Marco Rubio should resign?
And Mike Waltz. This is really, if they don't get out now, I think their reputations will suffer for a long, long time. And that would be sad because their record in believing in a strong American national security policy has been very good up until now.
Dude, this Bolton guy, what the hell was he saying? Oh my God. That's crazy. Calling for these people to resign because what? They made a Ukrainian man angry when the Ukrainian man was being a bitch in the White House? Like, that's insane.
John Bolton is so stuck in the past, he's sounding a little dementia-addled like Biden, says 2-year instead of 2-term, and then is pretending like Trump is still surrounded on all sides, like the deep state is still out to get him and on the verge of putting him in jail. It's 2025. Bolton's government is no longer in charge. Marco Rubio, if anything, Trump is now the winning team. Bolton's saying that Marco Rubio and Mike Waltz and the administration should resign to save their careers, to protect themselves from the Trump disaster. If anything...
It's insane, like completely unhinged. Wow, there's like insane meltdowns here. It's wild to see everyone so divided. It's so wild to see everyone so divided.
They should be hitching their wagons as much as possible to this winning side. The new...
But don't get me wrong, I love division. Division means chaos. Chaos means content. Subscribe for more content and more meltdowns. But yeah, no, everyone's going completely insano style over here. It's wild. Like, again, I know everyone has this thing. Why doesn't everyone just see the world like me? But bro, why doesn't everyone see the world like me? Come on, guys.
Trumpified GOP. Now, what I did not have on my bingo card today, although maybe I could have guessed it if I thought hard enough about it, is Lindsey Graham, who's been sucking at the teat of the military-industrial complex his entire career, suddenly reversing course and siding with Trump on this issue.
What? No! Siding with Trump?
Think complete, utter disaster. I've been to Ukraine 8 or 9 times since the war started. I understand the consequences of Putin's actions against Ukraine. I appreciate what the Ukrainian people have done. They fought like tigers. At the end of the day, I was hoping that this minerals deal, which would be transformative in the relationship, would go over well. I talked to Zelenskyy this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night. Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president.
God damn! The president of the United States did not buckle to emotional blackmail, goddammit, for the first fucking time in 4 years. Emotional blackmail did not cripple the president of the United States. Holy shit!
I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelenskyy again.
Holy fuck, this dude was pro-Ukraine for the last 4 years.
I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way...
And realistically, I know that we're looking at this like it's a war, because it is a war, but it's also business. Hundreds of billions of dollars went into Ukraine from Americans.
Handled the meeting, the way he fronted the president was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But can Zelenskyy do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know.
This should come as a surprise, but Lindsey Graham is up for re-election next year. And because his party has been totally Trumpified, he literally can't say no to Trump.
You can never trust anyone. You can never trust anyone.
McConnell already announced retirement, so he's full neocon, gives no Fs.
Providing assistance for the Ukrainians to defeat the Russians. That's the #1 priority.
Oh my God, dude, this guy.
For the United States right now.
McConnell's seat is actually open next year. Some people have actually suggested Scott Jennings of CNN run, which would be pretty interesting. Either way, history was made today in the sense that the U.S. deep state and concomitant foreign policy has been dominated by interventionist neocons, policies which have led to endless war and millions of lost lives, but a lot of profit. With Trump now in office and on the side of what the vast majority of Americans support, namely peace and using our tax dollars on ourselves, our own communities, shocker, the neocons' bloodthirsty warpath finally stops here. Victory has never tasted so sweet.
I don't know, man. This is a crazy situation, to be honest. Like, we are living through history. I never wanted to live through fucking history, but hey, living through history. You know the Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. I love how people are so brain dead that they actually prefer war to peace. Like, what is going on? Everyone called Trump a madman for the last 4 years. Trump is gonna start all these wars. He's Hitler too. He's fucking the DLC to the Third Reich. But dog, he is literally the guy that just fucking wants peace. He is the only guy fighting for peace. Like him and his people, obviously, Vance and Rubio and those guys. But no one else seems to be fighting for peace. Mitch McConnell just gave a speech. He wants to fucking beat Russia. How the fuck is Ukraine gonna beat Russia? They have nuclear bombs, motherfucker. These people, they're like actually living in fake reality. As much as I want peace, dude, and I do. I would love peace. it comes with concessions. You're never gonna beat Russia without a world war. And quite frankly, why should America get involved in a world war right now? God damn! Anyway, definitely subscribe for more meltdowns. Maybe let me know if you want more Zelenskyy meltdowns, because there's a lot more where that came from. But for now, there's lots of other shit to happen. Have yourself a most wonderful evening, and remember to stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.